Welcome to Brightside Business, where we talk directly to online entrepreneurs like yourself about how to scale to 7 figures and beyond. My name's Joey Young. I helped scale my family's professional service business from $19,000 to over $100,000 in revenue per month in under 2 years. And I don't have an MBA or any fancy letters after my name, if that's what you're looking for, but I do have a 4-year degree in increasing quarterly revenue. And I have a lot of lessons learned along the way. So I'm excited to talk today about systems, which is one of those lessons that I learned. You know, we talked in the last episode about priorities and what priorities you should have as a business owner to be able to leverage those key needle moving activities to create revenue and results. That's a great episode. But this one is about, all right, we got something going here. There's a little bit of lightning here. How do we get that thing in a bottle? You know, how do we create predictability in sales and fulfillment? You know, how do we create the ability to step back from your business a little bit and work on it, not just in it every single day? Well, the answer is people and process. We're going to talk more about how to do that later, but first, just defining what creating systems in your business is all about. Anyway, the whole idea to create a system in your business is just to be able to have the ability to delegate something that you don't like doing. On a personal level, that's a lot of fun. It's about reducing the amount of human work hours you need to accomplish certain tasks, and therefore lower the amount of hiring you to do, which drives down costs, but also takes the complexity out of your business as well. Businesses that don't have good systems often have a lot of problems that are fires that have to be solved on a daily and a weekly basis because there's not a way we do things. Instead, it's a let's make it up as we go along, reinvent the wheel every Monday kind of mentality. And that's just not going to fly if you want to create real, sustained, consistent profits and a system that will continue on even if you take a step back from it. So what do you systematize in your business? There's a lot of areas you could put systems into, but let's focus on a couple here. And the first is thinking about what are those problems that are repeat offenders? The repeat offenders in your business. What are those issues that pop up on a regular cadence every week, every month, every quarterly meeting we sit down, we have the same problem. Maybe that we could use a system to solve that problem, because if it's coming up over and over again, we either need to say this is not something we can solve for, this is outside our scope in our business, or we need to create a non-band-aid, real root problem solving system. So that's the first thing to think about. What issues do you always talk about and always require a meeting to solve, whether it's every month or every quarter or whatever. Another area of your business that might need a system is an area that's kind of boring, kind of usual, just part of the day-to-day, but it's just a little bit haphazard. It's just a little bit unclear about each of the steps along the way. There's just a couple of more days in between the pieces of communication that need to be done to finish the task. There's a lot of little steps that aren't exactly defined, so it's not running like a well-oiled machine. It's more like a trundling horse per se. So those are prime areas for systems, because those are probably areas of your business where there's a lot of human work hours, there's a lot of time being spent from your staff to go through those different processes, because there isn't a really clear defined step. Maybe there's multiple people responsible for the same thing. Maybe there's communication breakdowns. Maybe there's errors because of data entry issues, because there's just a very manual process and there's no automation. That's a really good candidate area of your business for needing a system. Because if you can create a system in a normal everyday area of your business that solves a problem, that prevents 3 problems from happening, you're going to be setting yourself up for a win, because you won't be doing work twice or having to go back and do something over again, which happens a lot in businesses where there are few systems. Okay, now you have an idea of what areas of your business you want to have systems in. Let's talk about the process for actually implementing those systems, because a lot of people think, creating a system, I just open a Word doc, type out the process I want, and then give it to whoever's responsible for actioning it. And that usually doesn't work, because when it comes to systems, you got to start with people. People are actually the most important piece of a system and the first step. You have to understand who are the people which are responsible for the system, making sure that they're the right person who's responsible for that area of the business, and that you can trust them. Because the way to build a really good system is to ask the person who's responsible for administering that system to write the first draft of that SOP, that process, that system. You want to make sure that you push down the responsibility of creating and maintaining the SOP to the person who's actually going to be administering it. And once they create the first draft, they can bring it to you. You can give feedback. You can remove steps that you think aren't necessary. You can tweak things. But ultimately, it's their decision what that system is going to be, because they're the sales manager, for example. And so you want them to take ownership of that area of the business. And what's true is, for employees and people in general, is if they don't create it, then they won't support it. If they don't have a say, then they won't buy into a system. The problem with the business owner who creates a system and just delegates it like straight off, like here's how we do things here, go do it, is people start focusing on the steps of the process as opposed to the result they're supposed to be generating by using the steps. And because the steps are holy and unchangeable and what the business owner wants, they start getting distracted from what they're really responsible for, which is the result or the KPI that they're responsible for. You want them to be focused on the result that they're responsible for, and the steps to be able to be tweaked and to be able to be upgraded and shifted as different technology comes out or different phases of the business roll in and out. You don't want that system to be so set in stone that it can't be shifted around when needed. So that's why it's important to have good people, A-team players who you trust, overseeing an area of the business, who you delegate the responsibility for creating that first draft and for finally deciding on what that system will be for that area of the business and pushing it down. And then just having a little bit of feedback in there, if having the veto power per se, if you don't like any particular way that they've done it. The exception to this rule is if you're hiring from the outside. Now, if let's say you are effectively the sales manager at your organization and you hire an outside hire to be the sales manager, you do want to give them a really clear system, a really clear SOP, both because it's really helpful for you to document that, and so you know what your business does to create the results it creates, but also because that new hire has no context, and if you just give them free rein to do whatever they want to do, they're probably going to change things pretty quick and maybe in a direction you don't like. So if you have a new outside hire, make sure you give them really clear SOPs and systems that you use so that they can do the best job possible. And if you're liking this sort of topic around systems, you're probably going to enjoy my one-page handoff sheet. It's a delegation tool that I built. It's totally free. There's a link in my description here of this episode, so you can just go check that out and download it. It's totally free. It's literally one page to help you delegate something to another team member. It's not exactly the same thing as writing a system, but it's very hand in hand, because if you're looking to, let's say, hire an outside manager and you want to know how do I delegate a process to them, this one page will have it all there, right there, the whole process of capturing the SOP and training them and following up with them. It's really good. So check it out in the episode show notes. And if you liked something you heard in the episode, or you have a question or thought, I'd love to hear from you about your thoughts about this episode. So shoot me an email, joey@joeyhyoung.com, or shoot me a DM on Instagram. It's at Joey H. Young on Instagram. And while you're there, you can actually click the link in my bio on Instagram and book a 20-minute consultation with me just to talk about your business, how you can scale it from wherever you're at, 5, 10, 15, 20K a month in revenue, all the way up to 100K or more. I'd love to help you out and give you that free time to talk about that. And if you did enjoy this, make sure to subscribe and to like this video or share it on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Just share it so that other people can benefit from this great content. And until next time, happy scaling.